Well, hello there, and you join us here today to talk about affordable alternatives to very expensive watches. If you want to save a little bit of cash, but still get a good load of splash, you need to pay attention. Tom, you are no stranger to saving cash.
Oh, hells yes. I keep my purse strings nice and tight. My fists are tight and my belt is tight.
Well, you are well and truly battened down. Maybe you'll be able to just loosen it up just a little sliver for these 10 watches, Tom.
We'll see.
Because we are going to share some great affordable alternatives to watches that do cost an awful lot of money. Would you like to go first?
Yes. Okay, for your deliberation, I have an Accurist Origin men's watch. Now, this, you will see, bears striking resemblance to a Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, most of all for its 70s design and blue waffle dial. Now, this one has got both of those things. So the Origin collection from Accurist is actually inspired by an original 1970s best-selling model of theirs. So it's coming straight from the annals. It's legit. It's got that heritage. You know, everyone thinks Jesse Argento was knocking out these blocky watches at the time, but everyone else was doing it just the same, even Accurist. So yeah, you can see you've got that integrated bracelet, the blocky case, and you've got this really nice blue brickwork dial pattern there. I quite like the brickwork as opposed to the sort of square waffly. It looks like a game of Breakout or something from the era.
It looks like, you know, when people try to get away with streaming videos that are copyrighted on YouTube and they just change the aspect ratio slightly to get around the algorithm.
Yeah, that's what they've done. Yeah. So this is only £169, this watch.
What?
Yeah, absolute steal. Obviously, it's a quartz, so you're going to save money there on not having a mechanical movement. It's a Japanese 700-19 movement. I think that might be a Miyota or something. Yeah, really cool watch, and I'm liking Accurist. This is a strong return for them, hopefully, and yeah, we'll see what they come up with next.
Never did I realise that there would be a group of people who thought the PRX quartz was too expensive, but here it is, £169.
Yeah.
So you can try that out, and if you like that, you can get the PRX, and if you like that, then maybe you can slowly work your way all the way up to a Royal Oak.
Yeah, if your wrist hasn't been satisfied by 70s aesthetics.
I'm going to take you back a little bit further in time to World War II and to the pilot's watch. This is the Laco Flieger. You can choose it in either Stuttgart or Karlsruhe.
Good.
Specification.
Good attempt.
Thanks. Both based on different designs of the Bier, which is the German pilot's watch. Famously made famous by IWC, but they weren't the only manufacturers. Laco were too. The great thing is about the Laco is that you can go absolutely nuts on the specification. This is customizable to the absolute max, Tom. And I know how you like choices.
You can customize so much of this watch. It's really cool.
Starting from €850, you can decide anything from what size you'd like, 37mm all the way up to 43, what dial type you like, if you want the crown on the left or the right, if you would like the movement to be a higher quality and finished with a date or not.
You can even choose light mode or dark mode for the date, which is cool.
Yeah, you can choose if you want the logo or not the logo. Basically, it's all up for grabs. You can customize it to however you like. And I think that's really, really cool.
You got to keep an eye on the price though, because what you choose will maybe add.
Yeah. You chuck in some floor mats and a full tank of gas, and you'll be spending a little bit more than you originally intended, but still a lot less than a big pilot.
Yeah, that's loads of fun, isn't it? And yeah, you're getting the unmistakable German clarity of an IWC pilot's watch there with that Laco. Good. So I'm going to highlight a British watchmaker that you may not have heard of. This is Elliot Brown. I think it's the surnames of the two chaps that started it. The Elliot Brown boys have a collective background in engineering, horology, and a passion for extreme sports. And they funneled all of that into their watches that they're making. So I've chosen this Blocksworth Heritage Diver because for me it bears a certain resemblance to a Blancpain 50 fathoms bathyscaphe. Now the bathyscaphe I feel is a diver, but it's quite sort of subtle. It's maybe a little bit more formal than your average kind of diver.
Yeah, very refined.
And most notably for me on the bathyscaphe is the little tips on the second hand, slight protrusions for accurate timekeeping.
Yeah.
And the lollipop second hands with the coloured tip. And the Elliott Brown has all of those things.
You must have been so satisfied when you found this watch.
Yeah, it's a nice watch. And I think Elliott Brown are doing some interesting things. And they definitely want to keep an eye on. This has got a very nice sort of chalky two-tone textured dial. It's got a nice clicky bezel that's very, very knurled around the outer ring. And it's just a very, really, really cool watch. It's £495, which is a considerable saving over a Blancpain. And inside is is a Ronda 713 quartz movement, so it's not mechanical, but still massive savings.
Yeah, there's some really nice detailing on this, isn't there? There's as well as a 40mm case, 200 meters water resistance, and the ceramic 120 click bezel. That basket weave pattern in the centre of the dial adds more of that refinement. They're not going for the tool watch aesthetic, they're adding a little bit more polish and luxury to it, which is a nice experience to have in amongst all of the other back to basics vintage diver alikes that you can buy today. And I'm always a fan for a bit of orange on the tip of a second hand.
Yeah, me too.
Just the tip, mind.
Yeah.
Tom, have you recently been to the cinema to see a certain movie about water?
Yeah, I did have a snooze for 3 hours in the theatre, and I think it may be the film you're referring to.
Yes, the Fever Dream Sea Life Centre experience, Avatar, The Way of Wet Stuff, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Directed by your friend and mine, Mr. James Cameron. He had a partnership with Rolex to create the Deep Sea Blue Sea
Challenge.
Deep Challenge Sea Blue Deep
Trench Invader,
to celebrate the fact that he didn't break any records whatsoever. Now, what I really liked about that watch was that gradient blue dial, which really showcased that sense of going deep. I don't know if you've ever done snorkeling. I did snorkeling once in the Red Sea, and I was paddling about, and it's nice and shallow, and I saw all these fishes, and then I came to this cliff face down into the deep blue. I have never felt such basic fundamental fear in my entire life, and I want some of that action on my watch dial. So this, Tom, is the Tissot Seastar 200 Professional Powermatic 80. It is fully certified to ISO 6425, which means it has all of the lume and the clicky bezel and the water resistance and the screw down crown and the crown guards, all the things that you need to hit that minimum standard of professional dive watch. But most importantly, it has that really nice blue dial, and it even adds to that with some engravings of waves which feel all splashy and nice.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, I like that ocean motif on the dial, and it's an absolute chunker as well, which it needs to be if you're going to mention it in the same breath as the deep sea. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I love that gradiated dial, that little chapter ring, great big crown. It looks like a serious diver, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How big is it actually?
46mm of pure stainless steel beef.
There you go.
And that's what you want. You want that deep sea, maybe not as much as the Super Mega Deep Sea Mega Challenge, like the really big one they do, but a little bit of heft that makes you think, if I crash into something with this, if I knock it on something, the thing I knock it on is going to come out worst in this exchange. So it's a really good spec, and for £940, which is a tenth of the price of the Deep Sea. Excellent.
Okay, for this one, I challenged myself to find a cheap alternative to the Patek Philippe Aquanaut. I stumbled upon this Formex. So Formex is a Swiss watch company founded in 1999, and this is the Essence 39mm. So one of the things that struck me about it is, well, you can have the rubber strap, which gives you that sort of tropical rubberness that the Aquanaut boasts. More importantly, you've got these horizontal lines across the dial. Now, if you remember, the Aquanaut has a sort of grid-like pattern on its dial, and the Formex has got these individually CNC'd lines machined into it, and there's a nice smoky, again, gradiated dial, and it's got this very, very nice, striking, angular, blocky case with these bolts in the lugs that sort of cut into the bezel there. It's very, very interesting and striking timepiece, and it's £1,250.
Yeah, it's nice how it's gone for that aesthetic without just outright copying it. It's very easy just to just mimic something else and then change the logo. But here you've got something different while still carrying some of the same vibe. Formix have got some really cool choices, actually, and the quality generally seems to be really up there. I mean, with the Solita inside, you're guaranteed to be able to service this thing forever and ever. Yeah, it's a cool choice. Even if the brand name does sound like some sort of uplifting item of underwear.
Or, yeah, some sort of pliable rubber.
Yeah. Oh, my new boots have a Formex inner sole.
Is that roof Formex lined? Because that'll cause you problem in the winter if it's not.
Tom.
What?
My next watch is a lot cheaper than the watch you could be purchasing.
Yes.
I'm not sure that you're actually really able to buy it because I think it's just as popular. This is the Timex Waterbury Legacy, and there are no prizes for guessing what watch this apes. It's quartz, it's £130, it's stainless steel, it's available with the oh so desirable Tiffany blue dial, or at least it would be if they still had any left to sell, because this thing has flown off the shelves. Imagine if you had a Datejust and you didn't want to take it on holiday, but you still wanted a Datejust, sort of. £130, Tom, and you wouldn't be the first.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, how Datejustery this watch is. It is a bit of a mystery, though. There are some available on third-party websites, but Timex seems to... I don't think you can navigate to the product page just through clicking around on Timex's website. You have to search for it and then dig out the page. But I don't know if it's just constantly sold out or if it's reached the end of its run and they're not doing any more. But I don't know why, because I think Timex could just dine out on this watch till the end of eternity because it's so cool. Maybe
the manufacturer that produces a very, very similar watch for a lot more money has had something to say about it. Who knows? But nevertheless, I think it's great that you can purchase something that looks very similar, that you can wear and abuse without worrying too much about it. After all, that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Sure, absolutely. And if you can't get the sort of the funky fresh colourways that most resemble the Datejust, then you can get one with Snoopy on it, and it's still got the same sort of fluted bezel and everything on it, which is probably more fun anyway.
Yeah, sign me up.
So last year we saw the release of the Tudor Pelagos Fuxt, and I fancy a little bit of that action, but I'm not paying Tudor prices. What am I, mad? So this is the NTH, or Nth, as I'm going to say, as it's slightly quicker, the Swiftsure Blue. So this is an American company, and they like their outdoor divey watches with a vintage styly. And this Swiftsure Blue carries a few of the characteristics that you might find on the Tudor Pelagos, namely the minute track is beveled, similar to a Pelagos, which is...
Oh, you do like that, don't you? Yeah.
I do like that little step down there. You've got pointed crowd guards, you've got a helium escape valve, you've got a 120-click unidirectional PVD hardened steel bezel, so that's cool. This is a 316L steel case. It's 43.75 millimeters in diameter, but that's probably going to wear like a 44 millimeter diameter. It has chamfered edges on the curved lugs, but overall it's sort of minimally decorated, similar to a Tudor, and it looks very utilitarian and tool watchy. And it has an extra 110 meters more water resistance than the Pelagos. This one goes to 610 meters, and it's only $750. So that's real nice.
Yeah, packing a Miyota caliber, which is always a good one. And it's a proper dive watch, isn't it? It's a proper chunker that's going to serve you well if you genuinely want to go under the water and come back out with your timekeeper intact. A lot of these vintage alikes have very vintage depth ratings, whereas this is proper, isn't it? This is really proper. Tom, I know you're a massive fan of the JLC Polaris, and I am too. It's a fantastic watch. Quite expensive though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's a little bit. What is that, pushing like £7,000, £8,000?
It's up there, isn't it? Yeah. If you only wanted to spend $1,500 though, you can go to Alpina. Alpina is the sister company to Frederic Constant, and they have been known for a few years now for making some really high quality watches, and the Seastrong Diver 300 Heritage is no exception. You get that compressor case with the double crown look and feel, which means that the bezel sits on the inside and you turn it with one of those crowns, which it kind of takes the dive watch aesthetic and turns it a little bit more into something you can wear every day that feels a bit more smart and suitable. Lovely, lovely sunburst dial there for that extra oomph. It gets a Solita caliber as well. It's rated to 300 meters of depth. It even comes with a lovely green rubber strap, if you so desire, for that full JLC, like, urban camo tactical luxury.
I really want to twiddle that internal bezel, and this is a way to do that for a much more affordable price.
Even the individual crowns have different engravings on the very end to show you which is which. And so the whole thing comes together for a look and feel that feels much higher than the price point would suggest.
Next, I present to thee the D1 Milano. This is a watch company founded in Milan in 2013, and I quite liken it to a Hublot in the fact that if you look at this watch, it is a statement piece, isn't it?
It certainly is.
It's a very bold and brave aesthetic for someone who is daring enough to try it, but there's lots of appealing details in there. So there's 3 layers of skeletonization on the dial, which is very, very cool. So you can see the inner working of the Seiko NH70 mechanical movement inside it. The stainless steel case is angular and very eye-catching at 41.5 millimeters in diameter. And with this sort of integrated rubber strap there, you can save yourself a hell of a lot of money on a Hublot and get this instead, which is £547 or $625 on the rubber strap.
This kind of watch isn't for everyone, but people who do like the Hublot aesthetic, who want something that's a bit more design-led, why should the people with loads of money have all the fun? It's great to see a manufacturer doing something like that, and doing it with real consideration. That skeletonization and the layering suggests higher quality. It's using clever design to add complexity visually without actually having a really complex movement. And I think that's very clever. It looks especially good on the rubber strap, I think. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I like as well, I don't think I've ever seen a square crown before. Square crown and a round crown guard.
Will it turn?
For our last watch, I'm going to find a cheaper alternative to a Breitling that I really like, the Endurance Pro. This is part of the new era of design, something that Breitling have put out for the modern explorer who still wants a really cool timepiece. Lots of bold colour, bold design, chunky numbers, moving away from some of that fussy finickiness that we've seen from Breitling in the past. That watch is cool, really lightweight, really sporty, but it's expensive. If you only wanted to spend 10% of that price, around £599, instead you can go for the Luminox Pacific Diver chronograph. It's a big boy at 44mm and it comes in a variety of very interesting and bright colours, so if you ever get lost in the woods you can just wave your arm around and someone will see where you are. It also has a bezel in what Luminox call Carbonox. Now, I've looked into this a little bit and it seems to be some sort of pressed carbon sweepings. Perhaps mimicking something close to the bright light stuff that Breitling uses. So you get that black bezel which looks really rugged and chunky and looks ready to take a beating from any rock in any which way. It's got 200 meters of water resistance. It's got a chronograph, but it's also got tritium vials instead of superluminova, which means that the glow doesn't run out in the middle of the night. So if you're out exploring somewhere where it's dark all day, you don't have to keep shining your torch on it to charge it up again. It'll just keep ticking over, just keep glowing like a little campfire there, reading the time out for you. It's a really nice looking thing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Breitling-esque, even so much as they've got the raised letters of Luminox on the rubber strap there, just like a Breitling would do.
Yeah, they definitely knew what they were doing. You get a Swiss quartz movement in there, so to be honest, it means you don't have to think too much about winding it up and keeping it going when you're out and about. Stainless steel, screw-down crown, anti-reflective coated sapphire, made in Switzerland. It's just a good all-round beatable watch for £599.
Nice.
So there you have it. That is 10 affordable alternatives to some very expensive watches. Dear viewer and listener, what are your alternatives that you go to when you want to get a cheeky cheap watch instead of an expensive alternative? Let us know in the comments below. Please do like and subscribe as well, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.